Welcome in, everybody. It's Misha Fayon, and I'm here to talk to you about the one thing that's causing most of us to feel sick and tired. So, I'm going to get into that in just a minute. I want to explain to you guys why all of these disorders that are seemingly unrelated from person to person. Hey, Lana. Hey, Kenny. You guys, there is one thing that's related to almost everything that we're suffering with today. 93% of us are suffering from it, and it's causing all of these symptoms and problems. Now, look, first of all, this is me up top. This is exactly why I'm here talking about it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I have a brain, I have a human body, and I got tired of not getting answers. So, how many of you guys feel the same way? Like you're out there, we're living in this technology age, this information age, and yet it feels like you're getting less and less answers for everything that you're suffering with. If that's a problem for you, hang out for a minute because this might just change your life like it did mine. So that was me on in the left picture. It's also me in the right picture. Those are about 5 months apart. Now, I went from struggling to lose any weight at all, being sick and tired, having chronic fatigue, showing signs of Alzheimer's, having my joints fail, having my body hurt from top to bottom, inside and out, IBS and skin tags and everything. That was me, including the big belly and the really double chin that I had. That was all because of one thing that everybody kept telling me, just lose weight and it will all get better. And you guys, I want to talk about this real quick too. So I'm going to ask you, how many of you have been to a dietitian, a gym guy, a doctor, and what you get told is exercise more, eat less? That's the cure, right? That's if you lose weight, your insulin resistance will get better. If you lose weight, all of these other things will get better. But what nobody's telling you all is that weight is just a symptom of something else going on. And if you don't know what's causing you to gain the weight, then how are you ever supposed to lose it? Because it's not just that, oh my God, they're eating too many packaged foods. That can be a problem. But even when people are eating healthy, whole foods, it can be a problem. And so you're left wondering, what's wrong with me? Why is this all happening to me? Because I know I was there. Like it was so bad. I was berated by doctors, and I worked out, you guys. I was a world champion power lifter at one point, and I worked out 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. I counted every bite that went in my mouth. I used food trackers, I used spreadsheets. Like my whole day was consumed about when I'm going to work out and when I'm going to eat and what I'm going to do next. And who wants to live like that? Do you like, if you guys like to live like that, if you think that that's what your life should be like, put a put a me in the comments if you think that's the way you want to live, is like tracking every bite of food all the time, making sure that you're getting in so many steps and so many this and so many that to make sure that your health is healthy, because nobody's telling you except for wanting to give you pills to make you better. So if you guys feel me on that, understand that it doesn't have to be that way. So this picture on the left was me about a year after I had to quit powerlifting because my joints were deteriorating. And lo and behold, would you be surprised to know that my joints weren't failing because of the weights? The weights were actually helping keep me healthier. The weights were failing because of the food we were eating. And I had gym bros and guys who were uh, powerlifting champion coaches and bodybuilding champion coaches try to work with me and write my programming and write my food, and it still wasn't changing. So I get it. It works for some people, and those people are great and they're big advocates for everything you do. But what about the rest of us who don't respond to those old methods? And what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to get better? How are we supposed to have better feeling joints, not be tired all the time, not have brain fog all the time, not have headaches, and not have skin issues, and not have your hair falling out or growing on your face where you don't want it to be, or skin tags, or PCOS, or for men, erectile dysfunction, all of those things? But the one key root to this whole problem, you guys, is so simple. And it just really blew me away that I worked in medical. Not only was I working out all the time, not only was I tracking all my food and putting, like you guys, every bite I put the night before, the next day, I always sat down and put in, okay, this is what's in my fridge. This is what I want to eat tomorrow. And I would plug it in to make sure that it fit all my macros, that I was getting enough of these nutrients in, not too many calories, not too many this, not too many that. and I did well on it. I mean, I became a four-time world champion, but do I wanna live that way every single day? I don't know. Do you guys wanna live that way every single day? Because I don't. But on the back end of this, I also ended up having a walker, a cane, disability plates. I couldn't walk up and down stairs. Getting up out of bed in the morning was so painful, it was excruciating, and I didn't know what to do with my life at that point. But it's not just about the weight, you guys, it's about if you've heard about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that's a problem. Hey, Cindy, you guys, I can't see some of your names. Hey, Shandal, welcome in. You guys, let me know where you're from. And also, I'm going to switch this picture out. I would love to know what it is that you guys are suffering from because maybe if I can make it make sense for you, then you'll understand why this is so important. Um, let me. Oh, you guys, I am a little discombobulated today, so let's do this. Let's put this picture up so that you can see more of what all of this can be, and then you can let me know what's happening with you because, you guys, I don't want anybody to be sick. I don't want anybody to feel like I used to feel. I don't want any of that for any of you. So these are some of the things, you guys, that are linked in to insulin resistance. There are things like sarcopenia, fatty liver disease, kidney problems, um, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all of this. If you guys are suffering with any of it, let me know because I'm going to give you some answers in a little bit. And the answers aren't that difficult, you guys. It doesn't have to be the way that everybody's making it sound like it has to be. So in some of the research that I do daily, I was listening because I listen to doctors from around the board. I have people come at me in the comments all the time, like, oh, she's just spouting off what fits her narrative. And sometimes that's true. We all do that a little bit, don't we? But what I really do is lean on doctors and scientists, and I listen to them across the board. But this one was talking about this morning, and she said, well, excess weight is related to insulin resistance. Yes, it is. Does anybody want me to explain why insulin resistance and excess weight come hand in hand? Um, but it was surprising because at the end of her little talk, this is a doctor from a well known university who said, eat less, exercise more. And yet, one of the top metabolic scientists in the world, Dr. Ben Bickman, says the opposite. We don't need to do all of that. We just need to understand what's happening. You guys, that belly that we have, the belly that I was showing you in the picture for me before, that's a specific type of fat that gets built up when you have insulin resistance. So let's dive into it real quick. And you guys ask questions. I love when you all ask questions. I want you guys to understand this so that you don't have to suffer anymore. I'll try and keep it really brief, but when we have insulin resistance, what we're having is a hormonal response to the food that we eat. And too often we're eating foods that are high in carbohydrates that break down really easily. It's not that carbohydrates are bad, it's that they're breaking down too easily that are bad. And can I give you guys some crazy, crazy information this morning? So it's not just that we're eating carbohydrates. We don't have to bastardize carbohydrates. We don't have to say, no, we can't have them. We don't have to do any of that, you all. What we have to do is understand how our body utilizes them. And we don't have to be some kind of scientist or doctor or weirdo like me to understand all this. We eat food, our body goes through this whole array of things to break that food down. One of them is it increases your insulin because insulin is going to take the energy that your body is deriving from the food and deliver it to all the cells of the body. That's crazy, right? So all of this calorie counting, all of the um, just lose weight, it doesn't make any sense if you don't understand what happens with the hormones in the body. And again, you don't have to be some scientist, you just have to know that this is happening. The calories don't really, I don't really give a damn about calories. I care about how your body is responding to it, about how my body was responding to it. One of the things that's happening is in our diets today. Hey, Crafty, it's so good to see you in here. And good morning, Cindy, or it's afternoon now, you guys. It's afternoon. I had a week or two where I was really resistant to going lives because I'm human too. And I'm trying to get back on track because I love being here for y'all. And so just let me know what information you want. But I'm going to share something with you that just blows me away every time I think about this. So there's a whole array of things here. First of all, I want to let you know that fiber is one of the things the glucose goddess talks about it. She says a veggie starter. What we're talking about is similar. We need fiber. Why do we need fiber? Anytime glucose is entering your body, fiber starts to help you decide what to do with that energy. If you don't have the right kinds of fiber attached to the glucose, fruits, vegetables, bagged, boxed, barcoded foods, your body starts to utilize that energy way too rapidly. You get a big surge of insulin, insulin ditches off that energy, and then you're left with an energy deficit. Fiber slows that down. Fiber allows you to time release those carbohydrates, that energy. Because it's not that we don't need carbohydrates, we do. Our brain loves carbohydrates. Our brain can work on fat too. That's how some people are doing carnivore. But let's talk about some of that too. Before we do, I want to talk about fiber. Do you guys know that not every fiber in your foods is the same? Now, this is the one that's going to blow you away. If it blew me away, I'm hoping that it's going to blow you away too. When you see foods that are, say, high fiber, so we go through this process that we strip down the foods and then we strip off things like enzymes and proteins and fiber from the food. But now we have everybody saying, oh my gosh, we need fiber. So companies are trying to put fiber back in. Okay. So they're over milling all of this food to break it down to get to this really starved to watch. Okay, let me fix that for you, Patricia. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can fix that. Over on YouTube, there's a background that I forgot was there that's moving and somebody says it's distracting. So we're just gonna fix it. Hang on, guys. Hang on a second, you guys. Let's see if I can fix that for everyone and not have that moving background. Let's try that one. Is that better, Patricia? Because there's a banner on the other side on YouTube and Facebook, you guys, it has my number so you can reach out. And then there was this graphic that was moving, and I probably would got a hot headache if I was watching it too long too. So I appreciate the input, Patricia. Got you. If you need me to make more changes so that it's easier to watch, let me know because I want you guys to be able to stay here and hear this. This is important stuff. All right, so Penny K, so good that you're listening. I'm so happy you are. You guys tell me where you're at, first of all. I'm going to get to this piece right now while you're telling me where you're at. Because you know what? I grew up in North Idaho, lived in Washington, lived in Southern Idaho, moved out to Maryland, and I'm now in Kentucky. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, I wanted to travel, and boy, howdy, am I doing that in life. So let me know where you guys are at. In June, I'm driving from Washington back to Kentucky. So I'm going to be running through Montana, South Dakota. And I would love to stop and see people if I can. Tennessee, Penny K. I haven't made it down there much yet. Maybe I should sometime. Okay, so the fiber thing, you guys, the fiber thing. When it says it's high in fiber, do you guys know what kind of fiber they're putting in? Do you think it's like the Benefiber, Metamucil type fiber that they're adding into the food so they can call it high in fiber? Does anybody know what they actually put in your food when they're saying it's higher in fiber or it's high fiber or it's fortified? Do you guys know what that is that they're putting in there? And are you ready to have your mind blown? Because this is what we're eating every day, you guys. And we're being told it's healthy, so run to the shelves and buy it. Just like we're told to run to the shelves and buy seed oils that are really damaging us. The thing that they're putting in, since nobody's getting it yet, and because I wouldn't have guessed it either, wood chips. It's wood. It's fiber, right? So they're putting this ground up wood chips, sawdust into your food so that they can say it's high fiber. But guess what? That fiber doesn't do literally shit for you. It doesn't do anything for you. Your human body's not meant to ingest wood fiber. That's not what it's here for. But yet, guess what? Here again, the food companies are giving you stuff and they're telling you it's healthy and they're telling you you need it because there's a big thing about fiber right now. So let's just throw something in that we can call fiber and we're going to sell it to them and tell them it's healthy. And then they're going to think they're doing good and they're going to wonder why they're sick and they're going to go run to Big Brother, Big Pharma and get medication anyway. You guys, you have to know that every fiber is not the same. And this is a clue for what's happening with insulin resistance. There's soluble, there's insoluble fibers. Okay, insoluble fibers don't soak up water. Soluble fibers soak up water. Fibers, whether soluble or insoluble, do not digest. You're not taking that in as a nutrient. What it is it's a protectant and it's a carrier. So those soluble fibers, they start to create this thick gel-like matrix. And I'm going to show you the fiber I use in a little bit, and I'll show you how it thickens up. But that slows down how the sugars enter your bloodstream. Now you have something that's actually feeding your gut microbiome, helping it be healthier, helping it be stronger, helping the right type of microbiome to grow, because the right kind of fibers feed those enzymes and those short chain fat, the probiotics in there, creating short chain fatty acids that we all need. Now, I'm going to pause right there, because how many of you guys have heard, oh, like, love Jordan Peterson and his daughter, but they just eat strip steak every day, right? And that sounds interesting. Like, they've gotten healthy on that, right? They're healthier than they've been. Good for them. But is that what most people should do? And people will, I get all the time in my comments and in the short videos, like carnivore life and carnivore is life. And some people for carnivore is just meat. Some people carnivore is meat, eggs, fish, fruits and veggies, right? That kind of carnivore I can deal with. One of the problems I want you guys to think about is there's no long-term studies with just meat alone. And then we listen to guys like Dr. Gundry and whatnot, and they're talking about, oh, we need to get rid of plants because of lectins and polyphenols and all this stuff that they think are so damaging to us. Do you know that when you're eating that big slab of steak that was grass-fed or grain-fed, whatever that cow ate ends up, portions of it end up in the meat, in the muscle that you're eating? Now, I'm a big carnivore, but would I ever say I'm only ever going to eat meat again? No, I'm not. The truth is we need fiber, and when people say we don't need fiber, if you're just eating meat, then you don't need fiber to slow down the glucose, but you need fiber for other things. There's things like butyrate that your gut produces that's extremely healthy for you that it can't produce when you're eating only meat. And when you narrow down your diet so much, you actually can cause more problems for yourself. So the point of all of this is, if rather than going to some strict like vegan or carnivore or eliminate everything diet, if you just understood what's missing from our diet and put that back in, would that be a better way for you guys to start dealing with your health and understand what could happen for you? So the truth is, our foods have been modified to oblivion. Let me see if I can. I'm going to put a different picture up over on this other side. So this is insulin resistance. Y'all are seeing this now, right? How many of you have ever known that this one thing, by the way, your doctor's not giving you medications for it. That's not going to fix it. In fact, even the doctor that I was listening to today was saying a medication's not going to fix it. But what she went back to was, you just got to lose weight and exercise more and you'll be better. Oh, now we're stuck in that back in that circle. And who wants to hear that anymore? Especially when it's not the truth. We got to understand that too much insulin, because we're eating too much food, whether it's veggies and fruits or boxed carbohydrates that don't have the right kinds of fiber in them, we're getting too much glucose into the system all at once. And that's the real problem. So if we want to slow that down, we've got to understand that, yeah, we do need to change the way we eat as far as how often we eat. This is not about calorie counting. This is not about, I can't ever have a big fat cheeseburger anymore, or I can't have a slice of pizza, or I can't have, yeah, do I want to make better choices most days? I do. But some of the diets that people talk to you about mean you will never have those things again. And guess what? When you go on something like carnivore, where it's only meat for a long period of time, you've desensitized yourself to other foods. Now, if you ever say, hey, I want a piece of chocolate cake, maybe I just want a chip. Maybe I want, I don't know, if you're eating only meat and you decide, ooh, I want that big, sweet, juicy pear again, your body's not going to know what to do with it because you desensitized yourself to everything else. So I'm not saying go out there and eat everything, but be reasonable with yourself. Eat the foods that feel right for your body. And if you all stop letting everyone else tell you that you're not in control and start taking control, you can make the switch. Okay, you can do it easier than you ever thought. So I'm going to go over a couple of things really quickly for you guys that will help you with insulin resistance. What we need to know is too much sugar too often creates too much insulin too often. Too much insulin too often starts to pack fat on your body. So if your main concern today is, I want to lose weight, I'm going to give you the shoe that nobody ever gives you as to how you can lose weight when you're insulin resistant and start struggling and nothing you ever do, especially ladies with PCOS. You're like, I can't lose weight no matter what I do. No matter how good I eat, no matter how clean I eat, I can't lose weight. So what happens is when your body is so insulin resistant and it's used to this new normal of high amounts of insulin and sugar, it kind of tends to keep your blood sugars a little higher while it's trying to get rid of some of the sugar out of your blood. It still is keeping them a little higher because that's what it's used to. Or you may have this where your blood sugar is really high and then the insulin gets rid of it and it dips really low. But the bottom line is, how do we regulate the sugar from having these super highs and super lows? Does that make sense? Does Miss Noni, does that make sense to you that maybe instead of just cutting the sugar, instead of just saying, oh, I can never have all of these things again, maybe we just need to understand what's missing that regulates how often that sugar hits our bloodstream, and that might be the best answer we've had yet. Hey, Taylor, welcome in. So, we're talking about insulin resistance because I love to talk about this because it's what saved my life, understanding this. And it got my blood pressure back under control. Look at you guys. I'm going to little story time while we're here because I don't know how much of this resonates with you guys, but I want to know. So 4 years ago, I had a walker, I had a cane, I had disability plates. I couldn't go play with my grandkids. I couldn't go for long walks. Shopping was terrifying and painful. Yesterday, no, it was Saturday. Sorry, Saturday, my son and bought us all tickets to Kings Island up above Cincinnati, this big park, right? So 4 years ago, I would have been like, gotta opt out, can't make this trip, not doing it, not gonna go walk for 5 hours around this big place with all these people. I'm not gonna do it. But now I can do it with ease, you guys. I even wore sandals. I didn't wear any crazy weird shoes. I just wore sandals and we walked around for about 6 hours. And one of the things I said to my son when we got home, I slipped off my sandals and I said, you know what's crazy? Look at these feet. Because in the past, those feet, I'm a very veiny person in my hands and feet, would have been so swollen and painful, I wouldn't be able to see any of the veins. It would have just been complete edema and neuropathy. And Saturday, after 6 hours at the park, an hour up, an hour back, no swelling in my feet, no pain in my feet. Is that alone worth it for me? Insulin resistance does that, you guys. If you're seeing swelling in your hands, your feet, that's insulin resistance. If you have skin tags, if you have dark skin patches, like I had skin tags all around my neck, I had this big dark ring around my neck, I had big dark elbows, and I had skin tags under my arms and in my groin. It was embarrassing. And you guys, how many of you guys think that skin tags are just part of aging? That most of what I'm saying is just part of aging. Misha, what are you complaining about? It's just getting older. It all happens to us all. Well, I'm here to tell you at 61, I feel better than I did at 41 because I finally figured out insulin resistance, or I didn't figure it out. I stumbled on it, just like you guys are probably stumbling on it today. Saved my joints, my hair grew back in, my eyesight got better, my teeth and gums stopped bleeding, the constant pain I was in stopped, the IBS got better, like my sleep got better, my hormones started regulating. And another interesting thing, I was listening to Dr. Bickman earlier. So I want anybody who's over, I don't know, mid 40s, ladies, understand that we all tend to put weight on as we get older, right? How many of you ladies understand that? The older you get, it seems like there's more weight. You just gain more weight. And it's a conundrum, right? Guys don't seem to understand it, although it's happening to them too. But what's happening in women with menopause and insulin resistance is our bodies become a little bit more insulin resistant as we get older. Why? Why does this have to happen to us? Because our fat cells act as like little ovaries as our ovaries are shutting down. So in menopause, ladies, some of the only way that you can produce your hormones and keep that hormone production up is through this aromatase in your fat cells. So you're going to naturally put on more fat as your body's way of trying to keep your hormones, your sex hormones like estrogens and progesterones balanced out. Crazy, right? That if so there's a danger that if you're too thin when you're getting older, too thin, then you're not having other hormones like estrogens and progesterones and possibly even thyroid hormones being produced. So, am I saying in menopause it's okay to be extremely obese? No, no, I'm not saying that either. But I'm saying stop. Nature has a way for our body to deal with all this stuff. And ladies, our hormones depend on a little bit of fat. That's why we have more fat generally than men anyway, because we need our hormones differently than men do. So, eat ruminant animal, salt, butter, bacon, and eggs. So, if you do that, then you're missing out on, and so here's the thing, Angie Mack. You can do that, and that works for some people, right? But you're missing a lot of things that low glycemic foods can give you, like fiber, and there are certain enzymes that your body needs that those fibers, the bacteria in your gut feed on to create things like butyrate that the body needs that you're not going to get from food or from meat, right? So I'm not saying go out and have cake and pasta and stuff every day. But I'm saying what we need to do is balance. And Dr. Ben Bickman just did a talk on this that meat is not enough. Yes, he's a big meat eater. I'm a big meat eater. I eat a lot of chicken and steak and red meat, but I still have some vegetables, not maybe not as many as some other people. We need those components. And here's the thing that even when you're eating those meats, a lot of the plant stuff that you're getting, not the fiber, but the things that some of the doctors like Gundry are worried about still end up in the muscle tissue of the meat. So just do a little research on looking at what things are becoming less prevalent in your body that your body needs when you're doing meat only. So that's why carnivores that say things like meat, eggs, fish, maybe some butter, a lot of carnivores don't even allow you to have the milk, but fruits and veggies, right? That's okay. So you want to pay attention to the fruits and veggies that they're low glycemic. What does low glycemic mean? It means that they have higher fiber counts in them. The higher fiber count in the food is going to help you slow down how quickly that glucose enters your bloodstream. Now, people can live without it, but there have been studies, and I haven't had a chance to dive into them yet. I'm starting to look at some of those studies because I have questions. I have that kind of mind. I'm like, well, what happens to all of these other gut bacteria that are healthy for us, like in immunity and our other hormones? What happens to those probiotics when we're only eating meat? The fact is that many of them just die off. Okay. So if you are not getting in this variety of things, and I'm not talking about you got to eat everything on the planet, I'm talking about plants are not going to kill you. They're actually helping your gut health. So fiber is important. And fiber, although we don't digest it and it doesn't get utilized like some other nutrients, we need it. So it definitely helps our gut, and it helps a lot of these enzymes and the short chain fatty acids and the probiotics in the gut to grow. Now, you're going to lose a lot of the overgrowth of gut microbiome when you do carnivore, absolutely. But what's happening is all of a sudden you no longer have some types of probiotics in your gut that are going to take a long time to regrow once you start reintroducing foods that feed them. And then by then, now you're working against yourself because you just desensitized yourself to all those foods that you need. And now you're trying to reintroduce them because maybe you found out that, immune system needs some of these enzymes and these probiotics. So sugar feeds negative probiotics. But if we have the fiber in there, it's slowing down how quickly those negative microbiome grow, and it's feeding things that are helping your immune system and helping your immune cells in your gut to stay healthier so you get sick less. Okay. So I eat that. So, Angie, I love your questions. So, here's the thing, I missed some of the things. You need to get a 100% carnivore diet. So that's cool. That's cool for some people, but if you start to think about it in a deeper manner, what happens to the rest of your gut? Like, we were never meant, and I did some research. Do you know that there has never been a civilization in history that we know of that only ate meat? Every single civilization had some type of fruit, vegetable, root that they ate, and it varied across the world. But there's not a civilization that ever just ate meat. And yet we think that that's what's the answer today. What if instead of cutting out all the other good stuff for us, what if we just are more mindful of the stuff that's bad? Seed oils, too much refined sugar, too much refined grains. Actually, in some countries, grains people thrive on, but it's partly, yes, I'm going to say it's partly what's happened in the US here with all of the glyphosates. And I was listening to Gary Brecka, and he was talking about how they started spraying folic acid on all of our crops, and we started getting sicker. It's not necessarily that we have to be so Puritan with our foods. You eat a lot of sauerkraut, homemade, various vegetables. See, that's perfect. When you're talking about that kind of carnivore, Angie, I'm down with that. As you're still getting in, sauerkraut, you're still getting in vegetables. And by the way, sauerkraut is amazing. So that negative gut microbiome, just another little story. I've been struggling with, I wasn't tested, but the symptoms seem like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, partly because I had my gallbladder removed and I wasn't taking digestive enzymes when I ate, which is a big no-no. And so I ended up with this gut issue. So now, how am I fixing that suspected SIBO in my gut? I'm taking a wide approach, but one of the approaches is the same thing I'm doing for insulin resistance. So I'm gonna do this right now. The fiber that I take, the fiber that I use. Oop, did I not bring my fiber packet in? I brought in another tea, so maybe I won't have it. It comes in a packet just like this, and I mix it up in water and drink it down. Now, what it has in it, let's find that real quick. It has a number of things in this fiber that are not present in other fibers. Um, so I'm just going to switch this camera view around for you guys so you can see what everybody over here is seeing. And let's take this down. Okay, so when we talk about symptoms of this, these are some of the symptoms that there can be, and I'm all over the place, you guys. So sorry about that. All right, so I was going to fiber. So let's try and get to the fiber slide, and we'll come back to some of these others because I'm a very visual person, so I think everybody needs it. But before we get there, look at this fiber that I'm talking about in the tea. This was me 4 years ago. This was also me with a wheelchair, or not with a wheelchair, with a walker and a cane. And what you can't see is the little disabled person on there. And then this is me now. Okay, so how did I go from here to here? Fiber was a big piece of it. Angie, fiber was a huge piece of this. And this is why. When we look at our foods, part of what's happening with our foods today, so I'm glad that you're eating vegetables and fruits, right? But this one up the top, this is a carrot. This is what a natural carrot looks like, and yet this is what we're getting now. So what's the difference between here and here? Fiber's been stripped out. Glucose has been pumped up. So now you have something that's less bitter and chewy. You have something that's crunchy and sweet, lots more sugar that's unregulated. When we look at watermelon, it's the same way. Look at all these seeds and fibrous material in a real natural watermelon. And what we have today, sugar water in a shell, very little seeds, very little pulp. We have sugar going straight to the bloodstream. That's the root of the problem. So is it always just these bagged box barcoded foods? No. Our food that you go into the grocery store and the produce aisle is all been changed too. Like, look at corn, was a grain, right? They pumped it up, made it juicy and sweet so that it's full of glucose, right? Fructose, actually. And you're getting this when you eat corn now, without all the fiber that was helping slow it down. And when we look at grains, the whole problem with grains is not that we can't have grains, you guys. It's that we've taken all of this stuff out. What we're trying to get to is this little white part in the middle, the starchy endosperm. But to get there, we've taken all of these things off, all of these fibers, all of these protective layers. Enzymes and proteins all get stripped off so we can get this piece, and that's what you're getting. And this is why we're getting sick, because we're getting this without all of the rest. That's how we're getting sick. So if we understand that fiber is a key piece to keeping us healthy, you know, that could be a clue. And so you're missing that with carnivore. You're also missing all of the negative effects of the sugar. I get that. But here, so let's talk about my 6 simple steps to helping you manage insulin resistance, because that's what we're here for. So this is what you're going to do. Fiber first before you eat. Every time you eat, you're going to prioritize protein. So carnivore diet's perfect for that, right? Like you're doing that. But I'm talking carnivore diet where you're including fruits and vegetables, where you're not just saying meat and butter, okay? We need those fibers. Our gut needs them. Our immune system needs them. Just know that. And if you don't know that, go do a little bit of search and research and find out how true that is. So, fiber first, then you're going to prioritize protein. And animal proteins are fine. They're actually really healthy for us. You want to fill up with fat, but you got to pay attention to the right kinds of fat. See this? So you want to fill up with fat. You don't want to fear it, but what you want to know is what kinds of fat should you eat? So little caveat here, you guys. I created an ebook. Go to my link in bio and you'll see the link for the ebook. It's free to you guys. Go download it so you can reread all this stuff and remember everything I said later. Plus, you're going to get proteins list in there and a couple of other little bonuses just to help you guys out. But fiber first, prioritize protein, fill with fat. The fats, and they're listed in the ebook. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, animal fats. Yeah, those are the fats. Not corn oil, not sunflower oil, not grapeseed oil, not all of those. Those actually can be very toxic and they can cause more inflammation and more insulin resistance. And yes, there's a lot of science behind that. So there's a couple of people who say, oh, that's untrue. But yet there's a ton of science, and top metabolic scientists will tell you those oils, especially in a clear glass plastic bottle, get rid of them. They're making more inflammation that's making more insulin resistance. I'm not going to have time to get into everything today, but how many of you guys even knew that? How many of you guys go out and buy seed oil, the clear plastic ones? Like, yeah, I get it. They're less expensive, right? They don't smoke up and they don't burn up as quick. But do you know why? Because they were made to be machine oils. Is that what you should be putting in your body? And you wonder why you get diarrhea, why you get constipation, why you get a bloated stomach, why you get all of these other like inflammation in your joints and pain, because a lot of times those seed oils are driving that and you're feeling sicker because you're buying what they told you was healthy. So we've got to flip this whole thing on its head and understand that insulin resistance is a disease of too much insulin. A disorder of too much insulin. Too much insulin is becoming a problem because we don't have enough fiber to slow down how quickly sugars are hitting our bloodstream. And that's a big deal. So how many of you guys want to get control of your health without having to change everything in your life? Like we got to change some things, right? We all know that we've got to change some things. Do you get that, right? Something's got to change if you want change to happen. Hey, Haley, it's welcome in. So you guys, I love to know where you're at. Let me know. I see we have several people on Facebook and on YouTube and TikTok. So we're talking about insulin resistance. We're talking about it because you guys, the crazy, crazy, crazy part is 93% of us are suffering with some kind of insulin disorder and we don't even know it. We're feeling sick. We have dark skin coloration. Our hair is falling out. Our eyesight is failing. Our skin is a mess. Cystic acne and goosebumps, or not goosebumps, pylorus, or I can't remember, chicken skin. All of these things actually are overgrowth problems. Insulin is a hormone of growth. If we can get insulin under control, we can start to understand how our body works. Now, recently, I've had some people who are coming at me because they're like, They see one little soundbite and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna rip into this person because she doesn't know what she's talking about." I do. I do. I'm not a doctor, but I do know what I'm talking about. Okay. So I do know the difference between insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and type 1 diabetes. Interesting thing I heard today, one other doctor was saying insulin resistance doesn't lead to type 2 diabetes. And I wonder why so many people are so confused. Okay. Yes, it starts out with insulin resistance first. If it goes unchecked, it eventually becomes type 2 diabetes. So, insulin resistance, your body is producing enough insulin that it still is kind of doing the job. And part of the job is storing that sugar away, and that's creating more fat. When it becomes diabetes type 2 is when the pancreas can no longer keep up with the load of sugar that we're eating. So, do we need to regulate our sugar? Yes. Do we need to maybe wrap our sugar in some fiber so that it slows down? Yes. Will insulin resistance lead to diabetes type 2 eventually if you keep your body under that stress? Yes, it most likely will. Because the truth is, diabetes types 2 starts out as insulin resistance. If you want to phrase it a different way, it all paths lead the same way, right? So too much sugar, too much insulin. Now your pancreas is producing insulin all the time and it just can't keep up and starts slowing down how much insulin it's creating. Your blood sugar goes up and they want to give you insulin shots to deal with it. Okay, so type 1 diabetic needs insulin shots because their body can't produce insulin. A type 2 diabetic does not need insulin shots, according to Dr. Ben Bickman. Our bodies are still producing insulin, maybe not enough to keep up with the trashy food we're eating. So let's give our body some help. It doesn't need more insulin, the thing that's already resistant to it needs us to have less sugar hitting the bloodstream so often. What a thought, right? So I want to show you guys a few other things here because um, I want to talk about a couple of people that I work with, and so you can see what is happening here. So it's not just me. You already saw my picture, right? My picture, well, one of them. This is another one. I was so mad. I was on this trip, wanted to have a beautiful time, and I knew that I was not where I needed to be as far as my health. I couldn't walk up and down stairs here. I was angry because I was put in a home that had stairs and no handrail, and I was almost in tears like, how am I supposed to get down those stairs? I have vertigo, I have pain. This is not going to work. But 5 months later, this was me. Now, the list on the side, these are all things I was suffering with. My A1C had gone from normal, I'm healthy, to 7.4. It's now back down to 5.3. By the way, when your A1C gets too low, that's an indicator that you've gone too far. Your A1C should sit right around 5, 5.2. But if it starts getting lower than that, that's not anything to brag about. You're starting to be dysregulated in the other way. 7.4 is way too high, though, right? We know that. Your blood work shows you that. When you start to get around 5.6, 5.7, they go, oh, pre-diabetes. Really what it was an insulin problem. But so I lost 55 pounds. I was over 273 pounds when I started and I couldn't lose weight. And now I've been hanging out around the same weight for the last 4 years and I eat what I love. Is I am not perfect. I have ADHD, I have autism, I have big emotional triggers, and so there's days where I'm perfect with my food, and then there's days where I'm not. But guess what? I don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I can still stay healthy and have lost all this weight and all the symptoms like hypertension, hyperlipidemia, my blood pressure being too high, my cholesterol panel being too high, having sleep apnea, having heartburn, having arthritis, leg cramps, skin takes. You guys, my arthritis my arthritis was so bad, I lost 3 joints. So I want you to think about this. You go from being a world champion powerlifter on the biggest stages in the world, winning championships, bringing home gold medals, having your flag flown for you. And yes, I'm proud of the American flag. So I flew the American flag. But you go from that to you can't walk up and down stairs. You can no longer squat or deadlift. You can't do any of the things you used to do. You have 2 hips replaced and 1 knee replaced and another knee that needs to be replaced. Walking is painful every single day. Walking hurts. It hurts to get out of bed. There's so much dysfunction in your joints that you have leg cramps. every day to wake you up in the most beautiful way, screaming to high heaven because you're in so much pain. That was me. I don't wake up with leg cramps anymore. I walk up and down stairs without handrails. I get to go spend good time with my family playing. I got on the floor and wrestled with my 8-year-old grandson the other day, just yesterday, because that's the one thing he loves to do the most. And 4 years ago, I couldn't do that. Has it changed my life? I think that it has. I know that it has. And that's why I'm here helping everybody else understand. Now, this is another lovely young lady, mother of a couple of children. She had diabetes in her family, was terrified because some of the people in her family died and left her because of insulin resistance diabetes. She didn't want that for her family. So she didn't have diabetes herself, but she had a family history of it. She didn't want to leave her kids in the emotional distress that she had. So she went from a size 14 down to a size 6. And you guys, do you think that she's cutting calories, counting every calorie? No, she's not. She's a little Latina hot mama and she eats what she wants. She just uses the same protocol that I do to understand what's happening to her body with the foods that she's eating. Now, look at this lady. This beautiful friend of mine now. She's a friend now because I work with her, but that belly was an insulin resistance belly. So whether you're heavy or thin everywhere else, if you have this big belly, that's insulin resistance. That's what's happening in your body. This is why there's a problem. Let me switch this up a little here and see if we can. Nope, it's not going to let me switch it now that we're in the. All right. But she also had anxiety, depression. She was in menopause. She's still in menopause. She's lost over 50 pounds now. She stopped having overreactive emotional responses. She got control of her depression and her anxiety. Amongst all of this, besides having insulin resistance and besides having all of this, she had lost the most important person in her life. So it hit her hard. She's been able to manage just by understanding insulin resistance. How many of you guys understand that insulin resistance also affects your brain? Anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism, Alzheimer's, dementia, all of these things can be linked back to the energy dysregulation in your body when you have insulin resistance. Crazy, right? How many of you have ever thought that, oh, like I went in for depression panel in my late 30s. I was so depressed I couldn't function hardly. And I mean, not to mention I was in an abusive relationship. That didn't help, right? That never helps. But the doctor just gave me, she said, well, there's a chemical imbalance in your brain. This is not your fault. You can't just think it away. So here's a medication. And I was younger and dumber and I just didn't want to be depressed anymore. So I took the medication. Do you know that I've gotten similar results by just addressing my nutritional needs without medications? You guys, I went from 13 different medications, 13 for my hypertension, for my high lipids, for my liver that was failing, for my joints that were failing, and the pain that I was in, and I had 13 medications that the doctors were giving me. I can't even remember what they were all for now. But the deal is, today I take zero medications, zero. So how many of you guys are on multiple medications for pain, for blood pressure, for lipids, for skin issues, sleep apnea? You're using a CPAP. Do you know you don't need to use a CPAP if you can get control of insulin resistance? A lot goes better for you, and sleep apnea gets better. I sleep solid now. Sometimes I wake up in the night and I'm like, where am I at? Who is this? Okay, this is another person though. You guys, we talk about this and everybody's like, oh, if you eat healthy, you don't have to worry about this. Okay, let's look at this lady. This is a good friend of mine. Now, she is a bodybuilder and a bodybuilder coach. This is her in off season before I introduced her to the Feel Great system. Right? You can see the swelling and the bloating throughout her body. She's obviously muscular, right? Same weight, same time in prep. This is her after starting the Feel Great system. You can see her abs already. You can see cuts in her muscles. You can see that her face is not all swollen. Look at this face down here. See how swollen that is? And see now, all she did, and look, she counted everything that she put in her face, right? She did all the meal prep, the chicken, broccoli, rice, all the stuff. She did all that. This woman was diligent, and yet she was still suffering. What nobody knew is that she had diabetes, and the doctor told her that her life was going to make a drastic change in 6 months if she didn't fix it. So she started this, and now she's not ever given up. But you guys, if you are an athletic person, do you know that insulin resistance makes you lose muscle? You're losing muscle every day when it can't get the energy it needs because you have insulin resistance. By reversing the insulin resistance and becoming more insulin sensitive, you can start to put on lean mass. So, why one of the things we always talk about is that fat loss is not weight loss. A really interesting thing happens with insulin resistance. When you are insulin resistant and you're packing on all that fat, you have weight that's there in fat. How many of you guys have heard this? Fat weighs less than muscle. There's some smartasses who say so, will have something to say about that. But what I'm saying is, if you take a big chunk of fat that would equal 5 pounds, and you take a chunk of muscle or lean tissue to weigh 5 pounds, the lean tissue is going to take up less volume than the fat. 5 pounds of fat, one looks like this and the other looks like this. Okay. So when you're insulin resistant, you're packing on the fat, but you're not able to put on muscle. When you start to become insulin sensitive, now your muscle starts to grow back in normally, naturally, healthily, and the fat starts to go down. So, if you're putting on more muscle that's denser, leaner, heavier, it's taking up less space. Your clothes are fitting better, but your scale weight's not going down. Is that still a win? Hell yes, it's a win, because now you're starting to put on the muscle tissue that you need. And guess what? Your heart's a muscle, your liver's a muscle, your kidneys are a muscle, your intestines a muscle. Okay. Are you hearing me? Your stomach even is a muscle. It's not just the skeletal muscle. When you're not getting energy to these tissues, they're failing. Why do we have so many cardiovascular events and diseases with insulin resistance? It's not just all the stuff that happens in the blood vessels. It's the fact that the muscles are weakening. Okay? That's costing you your health. So eat a well-rounded diet. Make sure you're getting in fiber. And then we're going to talk about a couple of things. Are you guys ready? Do you guys want me to talk about the things that can help? Besides that, I'll give you a couple other people. Let's have a real talk. Okay. This is my guy, Jason. He started out at over 463 pounds. He's now hovering just over 200 pounds. Now, Jason has been my rock star. His doctor wanted him to have gastric band surgery. See that shirt? I have a picture of him somewhere in that same shirt, and it's loose on him now. His tummy poking out. He's looking crabby. He's not very happy with himself. Nobody feels happy when they're living that existence, right? But in this picture, he's starting to smile. He's feeling himself again. But his A1C was 13.3. That means his diabetes was bad. His doctor was fighting with him because they wanted to save his life. And they wanted to have him do gastric band surgery. They wanted to give him the shots. They wanted to do everything. And he got with me and he was like, I don't want to do any of that stuff, Misha. It sounds dangerous. And so we talked about the protocol that I'm going to share, or I'd love to share with you guys in a minute. And I got him to start the protocol. He never did any of those injections, those pills, those surgery, any of that. And he lost more weight than they would have expected him to with those. Crazy. But he got his health back too. So he got rid of his chronic fatigue. He got rid of his erectile dysfunction. He got rid of his chronic pain, and his eyesight was going. He didn't tell anybody that, but he was going blind. His eyesight's back. Okay. That happens with insulin resistance and diabetes. Your eyesight's starting to get a little wonky. Could be your blood sugars. Okay. But here's the other side of this story. As easy as this protocol is, it takes two pieces, right? You've got to do the protocol. You've got to understand what it is. You can have some freedom in your life. You can do life the way you want, but you have to stay consistent. Yeah. If you go back to eating the old foods, if you go back to living the same way you were, you're going to end up right back where you were. We know that, right? So my guy had a little slip. And he was right in the wave of, I've lost over 200 pounds. I'm doing really good. And he landed himself right in the hospital because he wasn't paying attention to the things that really matter. and his diabetes came back, and he had a diabetic foot sore, and he had to have surgery, and now he's like, "I will never go off the system again." Because it's so easy to start feeling better and then forget to do what we're supposed to do to keep us there. So don't quit. That's why this has a 90-day money back guarantee, because we want you to give it the full chance to help you in a way that's really meaningful. So it does have a 90-day money back guarantee. But another person here, this was Jason. Now he's back on. Now, Cindy, I'm going to show you two different pictures here because I want you to understand this. Cindy is also another rock star of mine. Beautiful, vibrant lady. If you guys catch her online, please watch her. We met almost 3 years ago. She has lost over 160 pounds. She wasn't walking. She wasn't moving. She goes for daily walks now. Drag the slider to fit the puzzle. I don't know. TikTok gives me some of the most amazing, crazy challenges to do there. Okay, so Cindy, we're going back to Cindy. So she's lost a lot of weight. Her A1C wasn't that high. She was at most pre-diabetic, right? She was called pre-diabetic. Okay. But here's the thing. She also had hypertension. She had high cholesterol. She had inflammation. She had brain fog. She had neuropathy. So even though those those labs weren't telling her she was sick, she knew she was sick. She started the system. All of that reversed for her. She's lost over 160 pounds. She's no longer even pre-diabetic, and she feels amazing. She's 6 years older than me, so she's 67, and she feels better than she has in years. But let's take a look at this because I want to talk about something that I think we don't talk about enough, you guys. So, fat matters. Fat matters. Insulin resistance matters in how you put fat on, but your genetics do matter also. So this is Karen. Now, Karen is another person on my team. Amazing results. She's lost over 40 pounds now. Her A1C was 11.5. She's gotten it down into normal range now. But here's the thing. Do you see how she was already being considered diabetic, right? Didn't have She had some extra weight, but not a lot. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. Cindy, though, had a lot of extra weight and was not even considered diabetic. How does this happen? Does anybody want me to answer that question? Why was this person diabetic and only mildly obese, and this person was extremely obese and not diabetic? Does anybody want me to tell you that? Just say fat. If you want me to explain a little bit about how you store fat and why two people can eat the same thing, have similar body type, and one person gets extremely obese and the other doesn't. Because it's not as easy as go in and just lose weight and take care of your problems, right? If we that was it was that easy, we'd all be healthy. Okay, so then there's Steph, my girl Steph. You guys, I know you haven't seen her for a while. She's off doing other things. But my girl Steph, we've been friends for over 5 years. And I never saw her as obese or heavy or having any kind of health problem. She takes better care of her health than most people I know. And yet she started the system because I did, because we were friends, and she wanted to have the same results. But look at, so she was a little bit, she didn't like the way she looked. She didn't tell anybody that. She now has 4-pack abs, and this girl eats anything she wants. She just doesn't eat all the time. She also has a very high revving metabolism. She's super hyper, but she you wouldn't think was that heavy. She lost over 40 pounds. She went from a size 14 to a size 6. All of her belly fat is gone. She doesn't do sit-ups. She doesn't do any crazy stuff. She loves to jump rope and run and kayak and stuff. But she doesn't have any great big routine that she does to keep her health. She does the system. Does the system. And not only did she lose the weight, she got rid of her heartburn. She got rid of some of her problems with ADHD. Now she has ADHD, but she's much better regulated since she's addressing her insulin resistance. And then there's Dia, another partner of mine who's up in Idaho. She had ovarian cancer. She had a number of health issues. You can see in her picture on the left, she was extremely obese, not happy. She started doing the system and immediately lost a ton of weight, got her diabetes and her health under control. And you guys, we're not supposed to talk about this, but I'm going to say it because I heard Dr. Boz talking about it today. One of the things that we're told often, and I'm the rogue person, so I'm going to say it. When you have insulin resistance, you're more likely to deal with the C word than if you don't. So, am I going to tell you that this protocol is going to cure that C word? No, I'm not. But I'm going to tell you that every step you can take to keep that out of your life is worth it. Yeah. Yeah, I am. And Dia knows because she was a cancer survivor, is a cancer survivor, has not had problems since she's been addressing her insulin resistance. But even more crazy, you guys, this one is insane. So I had somebody asking me the other day, what about kids? I have a 9-year-old. I want him to do it. What does the protocol look like for a kid? Does anybody else have that question? Because this is real. This is not just happening to adults. This is happening to kids. This kid, he's about 14 now. He was 11 when I got these pictures and when I got to go meet him, but he was diabetic, type 1 diabetic, extremely overweight, emotional issues, depressed, brilliant, beautiful kid, but struggling, being bullied, just energy problems. He started the system. His mom started it, and then she got him started on it. Now, he's lost over 35 pounds. He has better moods. He's reduced his insulin load. So, this is what I'm saying. Type 1 diabetics. Oh my God, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Yes, she does. Even a type 1 diabetic can be insulin resistant. Our bodies all respond to insulin about the same. It's just whether we can produce it or not. This little boy can't produce it, so we had to inject it. But guess what? He injects less insulin now, has his weight under control, has his moods under control, has a much brighter outlook on life because he's doing a protocol that helps him not have to inject insulin all the time, keeping him heavy. By the way, how many of you guys know insulin makes you fat? Dr. Bickman says giving insulin to a type 2 diabetic is making them fatter quicker, it's making them sicker quicker, and it's in them quicker. Okay? Is that a solution for diabetes? To get an injection that's going to make you fatter, sicker, and end your life quicker? No, it's not. What if we stop all of that and start just supporting our body with what it's supposed to have so that we can actually thrive the way we're supposed to? So this young man is doing that just now, and he doesn't have, and I have other type 1 diabetics who have reduced their load of Lantus by at least 50%. This guy takes about 40% of what he used to. So there's that. You guys, those are all just some stories that I have about this system and the amazing things that it does for people. Um, and it's across the board. It's not just one person, it's not just two people, it's not just me, it's almost everyone that I help with this. So look, I'm going to show you this one, you guys, because these are all linked into insulin resistance too. So gastrointestinal disorders, diabetes, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, endocrine disorders like polycystic ovarian syndrome, fatty liver, all of this, and those C words down there, right? Kidney issues, circulatory issues, skeletal tissue issues, inflammation throughout the body, periodontitis. Did you guys know that your bleeding teeth and gums are a sign and symptom of insulin resistance? That your fading eyesight is probably a sign of insulin resistance. How many of you guys have any of these things? How many of you guys have a parent like I was who's suffering with symptoms of Alzheimer's? My kids, do you guys know that 3 years ago, my kids were worried? My son, especially, was worried that he was going to end up taking care of his mama because I was so high on the Alzheimer's score that it terrified him. And all I had to do to start reversing those symptoms of Alzheimer's was to get my insulin under control. To reverse my sleep apnea, I had to get my insulin under control. To reverse my high blood pressure, I just had to get my insulin under control. To stop my joints deteriorating, all I had to do was get my insulin under control, my insulin resistance. Okay. To get my IBS under control, I had to address my gut microbiome and get my insulin under control. You guys, this one thing is really affecting the majority of our health. And it's the one thing that we can do to save our own lives if we will listen and do it. I was so shocked when I stumbled on this 3 years ago that I was trepidatious at the very least. Like, is this really going to work? Because at that point in life, I had given up. I didn't think I was gonna live to be 65. I didn't think I was gonna see my grandkids grow up. I was totally terrified that I was gonna die in my bed in my sleep and that my kids were gonna have to come find me and clean up the mess, and that's not something I wanted for any of my kids. They're way too young to deal with that. But that was the way I was living. Can you imagine that? Laying in bed. I live alone, so raised my kids. They've done beautiful jobs with their lives, but so I'm laying alone in bed 3 years ago. My heart's racing out of my chest. I know my blood pressure is high. My body's hurting from top to bottom. I don't even want to roll out of bed to go to the bathroom because it hurts so bad. And then I'm crying because I don't want to leave my son with that burden. I don't have to live like that now. I don't live like that now. I get to take in fact, you guys, it's my health has gotten so much better. My daughter-in-law had said they were going to, in their will, they had care of my grandson going to my son's childhood best friend. And my daughter-in-law said this last weekend, which was really impactful to me, that they're changing it. I have asked for years to just let me have that boy if anything were to ever happen to them. And they're like, "Well, your health is good now, mom. You're doing good now. So, yeah, you're probably the person who understands him the best." What? Can you guys imagine? Can you imagine that? The one person in my life that I love so much, and I had to look at, oh, if my son gets deployed and doesn't come home, or if something happens, my grandson's going to be across the nation, and I'm going to have to move to be around people that I don't know because I was in no physical state to take care of him. But I am now. Now nothing's going to happen to my kids. But if something ever were, I know that that little boy that I love so much gets to come home to Nana. I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for the system. I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for having my health back, you guys. And it's so simple. Let's take a look at this again. So, I'm going to explain a little bit about the system, and then I want to explain a few other things that I really never get to. You guys download that book if you want to. If you guys want me to go over the fasting timeline and why we talk about a 16/8 fast, because I'm not getting to everything I wanted to today. I'm going to be coming back live later. We'll go over some more stuff later. If you guys have questions, please ask me. I love to answer questions. But intermittent fasting absolutely helps because it helps you get that insulin down in your body, more sensitive to it. And oop, I just I just left myself. Here, let's try this. There we go. So, intermittent fasting, you guys, everybody gets scared of it, but all intermittent fasting is you go to bed. You don't snack, midnight snack. You don't have all the stuff. You allow your body to rest for 10, 12 hours before you eat again. Simple, right? You're sleeping probably 8 or 10 of those anyway, so what the heck? It's not that hard. But if it is that hard for you because you just feel like you are too food addicted, that's why the protocol works, because the tea that I sip on every day, this helps shut down your hunger. It helps keep you from wanting to snack all the time. It helps make you more insulin sensitive so your body uses the insulin to deliver the sugar when it should and not ignoring it. So it looks a little like this. I have a tea in the morning. I have a tea sometime later in the day, and I have a pre-meal drink before I eat anything. That's it. But that means, yeah, I had a burger last night. Um, who knows what I'll have today? I'll gotta go do some food prep. But you guys, I eat what I want. I eat healthier most of the time, but that doesn't mean I can't have what I want when I want it because the system takes care of it for me. The system makes sure that I'm getting all the nutrients that I need so that my body can understand the food. And this is part of why. This is why I love this company and these products. We do this patented process. We handpick the leaves. We extract the components from them. We concentrate it and then we purify it. That's a big part of why this. So if you're like me and you're struggling, so you guys, I've listened to guys like Dr. Pompa, I've listened to Dr. Bickman, I've listened to Dr. Fung, I've listened to Dr. Pradeep, all these doctors, right? Um, but one of the things that we don't want to do when we're trying to get better is dump more in that's making us sick, right? And it cracks me up, you guys. People will go to McDonald's and buy a burger and fries every day and not ask a damn word about what's in that product. And yet, when we're giving you something that can help your health, everybody's like, what's in it? I don't know. What was in that burger you just shoved in your mouth? Can you tell me that? But here's the thing with the tea and the balance, they're purified. So now things like microplastics and pesticides and molds and toxins are not coming into a body that you're trying to make it healthier. And look, we're all going to get some of that hair care products, soaps, aerosols, all the stuff. Like, let's just narrow down what we can where we can. So this company cares enough to make sure that they're giving you clean products. That's the bottom line. So why the tea? Let's talk about that because we were talking about intermittent fasting, right? And Ella's grandma, welcome in. Gabriel, welcome in. Ori, welcome in. You guys, so the tea that I'm talking about, this tea that I drink every day, this one, what happens with it, we're going to go over that in a little bit. But it has high amounts of something called chlorogenic acids. They help your body produce GLP-1. You guys know GLP-1, Mounjaro, Ozempic, all of that stuff, right? So that is what's in those. But those drugs work by mimicking your natural occurring hormone called glucagon-like peptide. So the problem is, you guys, with those drugs, why I don't like them, why we talk so, or I talk about them a lot, because you're getting them in a form that is mimicking your natural hormone, and that never works as well anyway. But then you're getting it at 300 to 400 times the amount the body is meant to sustain, and you're getting it in a longer acting dose. That's never good for your body. If your hormones are meant to ebb and flow, they're meant to ebb and flow. They're not meant to be at a high constant all the time. And those drugs are doing just that in your body. But with the tea, what happens is it is one of the things that's actually helping your body create GLP-1 naturally. Because did you know that you can produce that same thing that's in those drugs? You can do it in your body. Your body's that damn smart. Your body's that damn good. It just needs the support to do it. So this tea helps you increase your GLP-1 by about 70%. So now you're getting all the amazing effects of those injections without all the negative side effects. And that means you can lose weight, you feel fuller longer, you're more insulin sensitive. All of it's helping with your gut microbiome. The tea is amazing. And chlorogenic acids, not only are they helping your GLP-1, but look at this. They're they have they're good for your heart. They have antioxidant properties. They're neuroprotective. They're anti-inflammatory, they're anti-diabetic. Chlorogenic acids are helping you regulate your insulin, okay? They're antibacterial and antifungal and antiviral. Now, I don't know. You guys, rather than taking a bunch of pills or weird stuff, would I rather just drink a tea that gives me all of that antibacterial, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, anti-hypertension, all that stuff in a tea that tastes amazing? That's what I do every single day. And the cool thing is, with Feel Great, with the tea, you'll feel great all day. You don't have the crashes and the spikes with that you get with coffee or Bang Energy or Red Bull. It's a very natural, easy on your system energy that gives you a complete sense of calm while doing it. Now, my daughter is in school to become a nutritionist. She's getting her master's degree, and she was so excited. She shared a uh, little message with me today that she just studied theobromine, and so theobromine is actually one of the things in the tea that makes it so amazing. But let's deal with those chlorogenic acids. They promote that neuroprotective gene expression. So, neuroprotective gene expression, that's a lot, right? So, what it is, you have neurons, you have nerve endings, you have all of this that's like with edema and neuropathy, all those like weird tingling sensations in the brain, confusion, brain fog. So, the tea actually helps protect those those nerve sheaths. Okay, so it's giving you a gene expression that's helping your nerve conduction happen healthier. So it has an antioxidant effect in the brain. antioxidant effect in the brain, less inflammation in the brain. Okay. That's a really good thing. It promotes feelings of well being. It supports healthy blood pressure and glucose levels. It promotes weight loss and it contains this tea. This tea that I'm drinking has 375 times more of those chlorogenic acids than any standard yerba mate tea on the market. Plus, it's clean of all the pesticides, toxins, molds, and all the other stuff that we talked about. Because when you're getting those others, they don't go to the expense to do that. So you may be getting, coffee is full of molds and pesticides, most of it. Most teas are. This tea is not. Plus, it's extremely concentrated, so you're getting way more of the benefits that are really going to kick in and be beneficial for your health overall. So, the theobromine, that thing that my daughter was so excited to share that she got to look at the molecular structure of. I know, we're a family of geeks. So, it's the best known as the mood boosting molecule found in high quality chocolate. It supports healthy blood pressure. It gives you healthier cholesterol levels. It promotes a feeling of calm and reduce mental fatigue and improves focus. Now, I don't want to get too hung up on cholesterol because we need cholesterol, but the right balance. And the tea's helping you with the right balance of cholesterol. So Unamate has 3 times the amount of theobromine as the highest quality dark chocolate. When you eat dark chocolate and you feel so calm and smooth and like everything is good, guess what? Without all the sugar, you're getting 3 times the amount in this tea. This tea doesn't break my fast either. I can have it in the morning and it doesn't break my fast. It supports it. So when we're trying to live that healthy lifestyle, what this system does is it helps support you in making all the right choices. You're not hungry. You're not craving sweets. You're not trying to eat all the time. That's a good thing, right? From a tea that's not causing more damage, but causing more health. That's pretty freaking amazing, I think. Okay. And then the other thing with this tea is that it's extremely nutrient dense. The farmers who grow it call it the food of the gods because they can subsist on it when they have nothing else to eat. It has so many vitamins and minerals in it that it supports their health even in times of famine. So it's that powerful and it's that amazing. And this is the only form you can get it like that. But I started talking about fiber, right? So let's talk about that. The piece that I drink before my meal has 4 scientific blends in it. I'm going to pause for a second because you guys, I have a funny sense of humor. And a while back, I heard some guy talk about one of the like Unicity 7X technology. He's like, there's no fiber called 7X. Well, no, there's not, because it's a blend of fibers that we figured out that we put together to help you with insulin resistance and diabetes. So yeah, you're not going to go out and find Unicity 7X on the shelf somewhere. It's a specific blend of fibers that was studied for over 20 years to make sure that it had the impact on blood sugars that we're talking about. There's a lot of science behind it, and it works. It works so well that all the people that I showed you, it helped every single one of them. I saw Ben in here earlier, helped him too. Hey, Shekinah. I knew a girl when I was younger. Her mother owned Appalachian horses, and we went bareback riding with them all the time. Her daughter's name was Shekinah. So I kind of know where the word comes from. Beautiful little soul. I have to assume that you're very similar, very, very light, beautiful soul. But anyway, welcome in. Okay, so, you guys, I know it's like these names out here. So, our Shakumar, welcome in. Sparkles, welcome in, you guys. Okay, so the fiber that I'm talking about. This is how it works. All that science boils down to this. When you eat and you're not having the protective fiber around it, this is what's happening on the top upper right hand here. So you're eating, you're spiking your glucose, you're spiking your blood sugars. That's the light blue line, right? And then as a response, your body starts putting out insulin because remember, insulin has to carry that, deliver it as energy to the cells. It doesn't just end up there. It doesn't know where to go. Insulin is taking it. So every time you spike your glucose, you're spiking your insulin. And when you spike it high like that, it takes a long time for it to come down. Okay. But when you add some fiber in before you eat, the glucose never spikes as high because that's fiber's job, is to keep the glucose spikes down, which means that if the glucose isn't spiking as high, the insulin isn't spiking as high. Now your body's not going, ooh, that's too much insulin. I don't want you. It's like, hey, we got a good thing going. We're going to take care of this. We're going to utilize that energy We're going to utilize it all, and we're not going to shove it in the fat cells. We're going to use it for the energy the cells need. That's the magic of adding fiber in, especially when you're having anything that turns into glucose. By the way, the body has a different way of dealing it. Do you know that even meats will spike your insulin, but only about half as much as fruits and veggies? Because yes, you get a glucose response from meat. So you want to keep the glucose spikes down. Meat in itself is a good way to do it. But for the rest of us, and the rest of us who also want to pay attention to our gut, this is what's happening. So when we add fiber, we're having all this goodness. So remember the glucose spike? That's it right there. But what's happening, what I didn't talk about earlier, is that when you have this high spike of insulin and it's trying to do its job, it's like, woo, we got all this energy. Let's go. Let's get it out there to the cells. Let's do it. And insulin's running around trying to give the cells all the energy they can get. And then all the cells are saying, yep, nope, not having it today, insulin. And then all of a sudden insulin goes, well, I got to get this out because you're going to eat more. So it goes and runs to the fat cells and it shoves all of that excess glucose in the fat cells. Some of it's staying in the liver. That's how you get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But then what happens is when insulin does its job and it's frantically gotten all that energy out of the system, you have a glucose crash, right? So you ever wonder, you're eating, you're tired, you get goosebumps after you eat. Like, why do I get goosebumps? Why do I feel cold every time I eat? Because your body is going through the sugar roller coaster because your insulin is so out of control. Okay. So you get this glucose crash. Now you're tired. Now you have goosebumps. Now you have all of these other problems, brain fog and fatigue, and you just want to lay down and sleep. That's an insulin problem. And now you're also hungry. You're like, oh, I have an energy gap. I better go eat something. And you go eat something and bam, there you go. You spiked your glucose again. And then you end up with another crash. So then you end up more. And then guess what happens? Then you start packing on the fat. So your doctor goes in, you go in, you tell your doctor you got all these problems, and they say just lose some weight. But they don't explain to you hormones or what's happening. They say eat less, exercise more. Okay, I'm going to try that, doc. But it doesn't really work for you, right? So now you're like, what am I supposed to do? You were the guy with all the tools. You were the guy with all the knowledge, and you told me to just eat less and work out more, and it's not working. What do I do? Well, maybe if the guy with all the knowledge talked to you about some hormones, it might make more sense. So this is what happens. We had a couple of other little indications here. So this is what's happening. We did a study on this fiber that I'm talking about. So without the balance before, without the pre-meal fiber drink, this is what happened to the glucose. Spiked up. Had that glucose low, like I talked about. Insulin is still up here hanging out on the ready to do its job. Same group of people, same food, waffles, orange juice, syrup, okay? It gave them this balance before the meal, and look what happened. Instead of that high glucose spike, they have a smaller glucose spike. They have a smaller insulin spike. Now they get back to normal much quicker. Are you guys getting it? 43%. 43% difference in a glucose spike by adding in fiber before you eat. But not just any fiber, you guys hear me. This is a specific blend of fibers, soluble and insoluble, that does all this work. That's why it's important. It's not just go grab some Metamucil or Benefiber. Those don't do the same thing. Plus, they don't regulate your blood sugars in the same way. Okay. So there's only 5 grams of fiber in this little packet, but because it's a specific blend, it does as much, if not more for me, than 15 to 20 grams of other fibers. Because this is targeting what I need it to do. And that's what we want, right? You don't want to go buy a gas car and throw diesel in it because it's all fuel, right? Your car is going to destroy on diesel if it's a gas engine. And yet you're just throwing any old kind of fiber, including wood chips, into your body for fiber. And you're expecting your body to work at peak performance. Give it peak performance nutrition. It's going to give you peak performance outcome. It's that simple, you guys. Stop making it so hard. If you really want to change your life, you've got to change your life. And there's nothing simpler than this that you can do. I have a drink in the morning. I sip on it all day. Before I eat, I have this. For me, I have a couple of these a day because I had severe gut issues because of insulin resistance. I have this before any time I eat, but that's it. So this fiber, right? There's 4 different patented blends in there. These are exactly the fibers that are in there. These fibers are not in Benefiber, Metamucil, any of those others you're getting. Okay? These are important. These are extremely important. And the only place to get them in this combination is in this product that I'm talking about. And it will reduce your blood sugar spike by up to 43%. Remember that? Inulin, berberine, do they have studies like that? Do they work? Yes, they do. Do they work like this? No, they don't. No, they don't. That's why this is so amazing. Okay, so I'm tired of having the berberine inulin discussion because it's just not even worth it for me. You guys, there's ways to do it. If you want to take those on top of it, great. But you know, this this blend is made to address insulin resistance. All right, so I didn't fix that one. Now, it also has a cardio matrix in it. So not only does the tea help with your heart, the pre-meal drink helps with your heart. So now, number one killer, or one of the number one killers, sorry, I know I'm not supposed to use that on live, is cardiovascular events. 80% of cardiovascular events are linked to high blood pressure. 95% of high blood pressure is directly linked or caused by insulin resistance. Boom. That's enough right there. You care about your heart, you want to live, you want to be around for your family. You got to take care of your heart, not just your weight. These two protect your heart and help it normalize. That's crazy. That's crazy. How many of your medications and whatnot that the doctors gave you ever can make that claim? Plus, this also now, so the tea had a complete panel of vitamins and minerals naturally occurring in it. But guess what? Our scientists have said we want people to be so healthy. We're going to go out and we're going to find the vitamins and minerals that support these fibers and phytosterols so that people can find their health back and get control of their diabetes again. It's all included in a one and done. So you guys, I don't take multivitamins. I don't take all of that stuff. I do a tea in the morning. I do a pre-meal drink before I eat. My vitamin and mineral panel has never been better. I don't have drawers full of all the other stuff. Pretty simple, right? How would you like to drink a tea in the morning? Ditch all the gummies and the pills for vitamins. Take a pre-meal drink before you eat. Slow down your blood sugar spikes and that fatigue and that tiredness and the body aches and pains and the headaches and the bleeding teeth and gums and the falling out hair and the sleep apnea. Done. 2 products that I use at 3 key points during the day, every single day, and my health has never been better in years. Okay, and it's working for people too. I saw Karen Louise jump in here too. I don't know if she's still here, but she's another great one to watch, you guys. And welcome in 111666. That's a quite a combination of numbers. I'm going to give you that. Okay, so Trent, Miss Geets, good guys, welcome. If you have questions, let me know. Here's the other thing, though. All of this good stuff, which I just kind of went over quickly, we have 3 guarantees. You get a 90-day money-back guarantee. You get the best price guarantee. You're going to pay the same price as me. You never pay more. Plus, we have a quality guarantee. So it's tested in its botanical form. It's tested while it's being produced. It's tested before it goes out to you. So you know that you're getting something that's pure. That's everything that I just talked about, or it doesn't come out to you. You pay the same price as me by using my code. My code gives you that discount. So you have to use it. Don't go to Amazon and eBay and Walmart. You're not getting that discount. Use the discount. That links you directly to me with the company. And no matter what you get, you're going to get that discount. You're always going to have access to me for coaching and help whenever you need it, whenever you want it. Hey, A1C Spicy, I haven't seen you for a while. Of course, I've been remiss in being here, right? So Ocean Lover, welcome in. You guys, so good to see all of you in here. Now, that's the system. It's so simple. You just, the link's in my bio. I'll put it over on YouTube for anybody who's interested there. Message me if you need more questions answered. You guys see this little ticker on the bottom here? If you need to reach out to me to have a conversation, please feel free. Just text me first and let's talk and see if this can work for you. But while we're doing that, there's all of this. You guys, these are just some of the messages that I get back from people. Like, people are losing pant sizes. People are losing their hunger, this food addiction that they thought they couldn't get rid of. People's health is getting better. Their A1C is dropping, their blood pressure is dropping, their skin is getting better, their skin tags are going away. All of this stuff is happening, and I get these messages all the time. When is it your turn? When are you gonna be the one sending me a message? When are you gonna be the one saying, "My skin tags are gone. My bulging belly is gone. I don't hurt when I wake up every day now. I I'm not afraid to step on the floor because it doesn't feel like 1,000 knives are being shoved into my feet. I can sleep at night and I wake up feeling rested." Those are things that happen when you get insulin resistance under control. How many of you guys are suffering with any of that? You got liver problems, you got kidney problems, you got heart problems, your hair falling out, you're growing hair on face places you shouldn't be, you got swelling and neuropathy, gout, anxiety, depression. How many of you guys are suffering with those? Like, look at, I get it. Here's the thing for me, that when we talk about all of this stuff, right? It's real world. We're all suffering. Today, we have so much more going on in our lives than we've ever had. And it's hard. Like, we're on alive. I don't want to tell people about what's going on with me. But you know what? If you don't speak up, you're not going to get help. And somebody else isn't going to get the help either. Had I not spoke up, when I saw this system 4 years ago, all I knew was the pills that the doctors were giving me weren't helping. All the other stuff that I had been prescribed and all the regimens that I had been given, and I followed to a T, and we checked them off. And I'm the spreadsheet queen, so we did all of that, and I wasn't getting better. And I stumbled on this, and I was like, I gotta have it. I saw him on TikTok. I saw him on Instagram. I saw him over on Facebook. I saw him, and so I'm messaging this man everywhere I could to get a hold of this stuff, because I just knew I needed to change my life, or I wouldn't have a life. That was my life, and now I have a life, and I have amazing people in my life, and I'm helping amazing people every day, and that's exactly how I want to spend my life. So let's talk about, if you guys are interested, just reach out to me. Let me know. I'll come back in a couple hours. We'll talk some more about things. I usually like to do sciencey talks, but I'm kind of stepping away from that. But if there's anything that you're suffering with, or you're concerned with your health, and you're like, "Hey, Misha, does this link into insulin resistance, and how could this help me?" Ask, and I will be more than happy to do a talk on what is happening with you from what I can understand. But the other part of this that I need to talk about more often is exactly that. Not only the system gave me life back, and then the business changed my life. So, you guys, I help people every day. All I do is share the system that works so well for me. I watch people's lives change. I get them real results. They're losing weight. They're getting rid of their hypertension. We've had people who are on the verge of heart attacks who have saved their life by addressing insulin resistance. That's all I do every day, is just talk about it. But guess what? I get to do it from home. I get to do it with people I love and want to work with. I get to have time to go have family nights and play board games and stuff with my family last night. Wednesday night, I go have family night with my grandson again, because we're that close. And if I was working my 2 jobs in medical that I was working before, or driving for Lyft and Uber, which was what I was doing when I started this, I wouldn't be able to do all of those things, because every day that I wasn't driving, or every day that I wasn't working, was money that wasn't coming in. And that was meaning I couldn't pay my rent. I couldn't go see my grandkids. I don't live like that anymore. I get to see my grandkids when I want to. If my grandson calls up and says, "Nana, I had a really rough day. I need you," I get to take time and go be with him. And my income still comes in. But I need a team, because you guys, like, there's been a dozen or so of you on each of these channels today, but that means there's thousands more people that I haven't been able to reach. And how many people do you know need help with their health in a realistic, sustainable way, that's not tearing down their health, but it's giving them health back, that could actually even maybe give them some extra income? How many people do you know that are struggling? Like, I've always been a worker. I've always worked 2 jobs. I've done everything in life to do all the right things. And in my late 50s, I could no longer do all of those things because my health was so impacted. So I addressed my health first. Then I started to address my income. And now my life is unrecognizable. If you're interested in joining a team that wants to just help people with real products like this that can change everything, let me know. Because it's been lucrative for me and other people. It could be for you too. Can't make any promises. How much are you willing to work? I do want to say this, you guys. I had somebody that was on with me the other day, and we're all going to run into this. I had somebody who said, "Yeah, but I don't want to learn that. I don't want to do that." I go, "Okay, but you want to make 15, $20,000 a month, but you don't want to learn anything. You don't want to go online." Do you see how many people are online showing their faces every day talking to people? And you don't have to, but I mean, doesn't it make sense that that's the way the world is going? And if we have something that's science-backed, clinically proven, it's listed in the PDR, the company's solid and sound. Now, there was a company that just closed recently, and it's sad because that means thousands of people are out of an income. Our company's been around since 1903. It's completely privately owned. It is not gonna get sold out. The formulations are not gonna get watered down. It's not gonna get traded out on the stock market. It's not any of that. You have more surety here with this company than with many others out there, and so if you're looking for a new home and a way that you can help people, look at 93% of people need this, and we're just getting the word out. That's a big market of people who need help, who need their lives changed. Join me and let's get you on that road too. But I'm gonna hop off. I'll be back in a couple of hours. We'll talk about some more. Before I go, when I'm talking about all of that stuff, I do want you to understand this. When I say that it's science backed, it is. So we're listed with all of these places: American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, BYU, UNLV, University of Sydney, the makers of the glycemic index. See this Cleveland Clinic, one of the top heart health hospitals in the world. We've worked with all of these to make sure that we have a natural product that is effective for you. And if it's not, I wouldn't be here. Okay. You guys, I will come back in a couple hours. We'll see you then. If you have questions, shoot me those questions. Pavel, I don't understand that. If you can say it in English, I would love to respond. Or message me after this live and let's come back and we'll talk about some things. I love talking about science. Does anybody want, like, some of the things that people love to hear about the most about are skin takes, heart disease, PCOS, or hormonal problems, you guys let me know. That's what we'll come back and talk about. And in the meantime, we'll see you later tonight. Hey, also, tomorrow night, my team and I do a private Zoom call where we talk in depth about the protocol and how it can help and get into some of the science and all the stuff. If you want to sit in on that call with us and learn how you can be involved in this, how you can take care of your health, how you can help other people get their health back. Because you know what? If you're doing the protocol, not only is it that if you do what I do, but if you just have a friend, you say, "Hey, I'm doing this system and it's changing my life. And cousin Bobby Sue, I think you should try it too." If she orders, you get a $10 credit on your order. So you're helping other people and you're helping yourself. Anyway, we'll see you in a couple hours. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon.